Alright guys, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for watching. Anybody out there who wants to see simulation football, this game, I believe, is our best chance. So, let's see how it goes. So I've been working on the Jaguars, and it's been a lot of work. This is my 5th team. So I'm putting in that work, guys. But it takes time, so hang in there. If I plan on sharing these rosters once I get them done. I'm doing them for myself in terms of I want to have something to play this year, and I'm gonna try to do an APF season this year. See how it goes. Maybe I'll play a few seasons here, but I'm excited about the upcoming season, and I'm not really digging the way Madden looks right now. So it's probably gonna be another year of disappointment for me, personally. All right, so let's see how this game goes. So, one of the teams had to have the practice facility, unfortunately. At least in terms of, if you're making all 32 teams, then I believe there's only 32 stadiums. So, you're limited in terms of what stadiums you could use. One of them is going to have this practice field, and Jaguars seem to be the best fit for that. So, if you guys have any opinions on that, let me know. I could do a video and show you all the teams and what stadiums belong to which team. So you guys could, see what I'm planning on doing. But, that's what's cool about it. If you have the editor, the APF editor, and you're familiar with how to use it, even if there's something that you don't like about my roster, you could tweak it. If you want to change the stadium, or you want to, make it look different, edit the players, or you want to change stars, whatever. You have that ability, so never really stuck. We have a lot of options when it comes to modding this game and making these rosters. So yeah. So the Jaguars uniform I created from scratch. Let me know if you guys like it. I didn't change the Rams uniform yet, so it still has. Some people complain about the purplish color or tint. I don't see it as much in the away uniforms, but the home uniforms I did notice that. So I'm gonna probably make that change. Uh-oh. Ozlosny, you're hurt. Oh, okay.
Number 52 will have to come out of the game. It was hard to tell exactly what happened.
Something happened to him. Hopefully it's not too severe. One thing I wanted to do was I wanted to up the penalties, because I feel like I just want to see what happens if I max them out. I think the pass interference was good where it was at. But if I do holding, defensive holding, I want to see some more. I'll put this up to like 80. From the passer is good. From the kicker, no. Late hit, I want to come down. I can't stand when that happens. And even this one I'll bring all the way up. Let's see how these look. I don't know. You guys have any thoughts on the penalties? I'm just not seeing enough of them. And I used these from someone online. I'm sure one of the best guys on out there. I grabbed their. I'm sure I grabbed the combination of people, but but yeah, I'm not seeing as many penalties as I'd like to see. It's hard because penalties are one of those things where it could ruin your game if you don't have them set right. And if you're not seeing enough of them, it also doesn't feel realistic. So I still have some room to play with the with the penalties and the let me just change one more thing. And that's what I want. And the difficulty of sliders. So I want to make sure that those are set as well as possible, you know, so they're sim. But yeah, so this is Jacksonville, guys. Let me know what you think about everything. You know, you have every team, as you guys know out there, and for those who don't know, who might be new to the channel or new to this game, you know, every team has 11 star players. You have to have 11. I think you may be able to get away with 10, but I know the game freezes if you don't have the right number, and 11 I think is the magical number. But I think it could be 10 as well. I haven't tested that, but I've heard that you could use 10. But nevertheless, you know, you have to go through, when I'm making these roster guys, I go through each and every single player. I set the bios, the bio information. I set all of the attributes based on their combine stats. One cool thing I'm doing with the is that guy not gonna? Oh, it got open. Good. One cool thing I'm doing with the new editor is when you go to the attributes tab when you're editing a player, I now have the ability, or you now have the ability, once I release it, to quickly just set the attributes per tier. So I went through every single tier in the default roster, and I took all of the gold ratings for a player, and I set them. I set them in the game. Same thing for silver, bronze, and if you don't have a tier. So what I did is I went through every single position, and I grabbed the ratings. Some ratings are a little different per player on the same tier. Like, let's say like quarterbacks. Some quarterbacks scramble differently, and it doesn't really matter what their tier is. But for the majority of the attributes, a lot of the attribute numbers are the same. Across the same tier. So like, I don't know, durability, arm strength, things like that are typically around the same level. So to explain it to you guys, so if you go to the attributes tab, okay, and you're looking at the player editor, you're going to have buttons on there, and the buttons are going to allow you to just push a gold. So if you have a gold player and you don't want to go through every single rating one by one, and you want to be a little quicker, you can push silver if he's a silver player, and then automatically all the settings will get set to what a silver player is in the regular game. I also have it to where when you're going through each attribute, you know, manually, I have it to where it'll show you what each tier's level is. So as you're scrolling through, and let's say you're looking at agility, or you're looking at, I don't know, strength, it'll show you on the bottom, it'll show you what the gold strength number is, what the silver strength number is, and the bronze and none. So you can get a very clean picture as to what the game comes with for those attributes. And to be honest with you, it's helped tremendously in my creation process, because what I do is I'll set the tier, and you know, none, when you set it to none, it's obviously a little unfair because, as you guys know, the generics are pretty much, they're just like kids. They don't really, they don't have a lot of power. I did that way too early. Sorry guys, I'm a little under the weather here, but hopefully it doesn't come out too bad. You can hear me. But yeah, so as you guys know, the generics are just bad players. They're crap in this game. So when you're looking at the none ratings, they're going to be low. You know, they're going to be a lot lower than what I think they should be. So I just use it as a reference point. and it's helpful when you're creating your players because you now know at least what the game was built to give you. You know, without just guessing on your own or coming up with these arbitrary values that, you know, may or not make sense. So it's gonna be it's been a huge improvement for me. And those are one of the things I've done to improve the editor. I think you guys are gonna like that for those of you guys who make the rosters. So check out the coaches, guys. The coaches are all set. You know, with the editor, you can do the coaches. So there you go. And I try to give them the best appearance possible to match their real life counterparts. So yeah, there's going to be some new changes to the editor. Nothing crazy. I haven't really unlocked anything new, but I've just enhanced the editor so that you can use it in a more efficient manner when you're creating rosters. And I think it's going to be, I think it's really nice. So I'll be releasing a video whenever I get this out. I'm not in any hurry to release a new editor, so just hang in there. The more I make these rosters and these teams, the more I think of things that I wish I had in the editor. And yeah. And so yeah. So as I continue to do these roster guys, these rosters, I think of things that I basically, as you're going through the motions, like I think I told you in one of the previous videos, you start to see that there are things that you wish you had, you know, to make your life a little easier. And I've already completed a few of those things. One of them I just mentioned to you. There's more that are going to be released in terms of the news, and eventually I'm going to release a new version of the editor. So hang in there, but so far I'm liking the Jaguars team. The uniforms look pretty spot on. The legs, if you look at their real uniform, their legs aren't a full stripe. So I created this version of their legs, the stripe on the side of their pants, and I think they look good. They're looking good, so let me know what you guys think. See what kind of penalty we have here. You're probably going to be holding. I still need to figure out the issue with the Rams uniform. Okay, roughing the passer. I think I'm going to take that. Yeah. So some guys on the Rams have a light blue. Elbow pad, and then they have a regular dark blue accessory, and I set the accessories all to dark blue, so it may just be the color scheme that I picked. Maybe picking that lighter blue, so I just need to take a look at that. It's not really a big deal. I mean, that's how you move around the pocket, guys. I'm going to show you guys why this game is great. He got hit hard, I'm sure. Looked like the guy was coming after him. But I'm going to show you guys. Look at this pocket. Okay? Look at the way this pocket forms. I mean, number one, I'm not dropping back very far. I mean, I'm within 5 yards of... And the pocket forms. I mean, that's a beautiful pocket right there. It gives me a hole in the middle. I was thinking about taking it to the right a little bit, or trying to maybe squeeze through there. But I'm like, you know what? Let me just sit in the pocket. I moved around more than I probably needed to. I probably could have stood right there. But I sense the pressure, and I feel that pressure coming, and I have just enough time to release the ball before number 56 comes after me, and he puts a hit on me. I don't think he drops me or anything. He just... See what that looks like. He just kind of wrestles me to the floor there. But those are the things that I enjoy. So Makes you feel like you have to work. It really makes you, for me, it makes me want to run out of the pocket a lot, and it's hard to, just like in real football, it's hard to keep your composure and stay in the pocket. But if you learn to be a pocket passer, you need to know your reads. You need to be able to go through your progressions very quick. And you know, in a game like Madden, I never ever felt that pressure before. Backbreaker, you feel it because the guys come after you pretty hard in that game. You'll just get hit and surprised. So that game has pretty good pocket presence as well. But for more of a God mode camera, this game does it well. I mean, it makes you think about your progressions, and you only have so many seconds to get the ball out. So yeah, that was a good example of what I thought was a very nice play. Looks like the Jaguars are doing well this game. I know the previous game I was playing with them, I was getting beat up by the Dolphins. So
his fourth carry of the game and heads wide right, tackled at the 26.
So yeah, so I go through when I'm doing the rosters, I look at every player specifically. You know, I look at their images online, what they look like when they're playing the game, so I can get their equipment right. Their attributes, I look at the combine stats, I look at their regular season stats. I compare against the tiers that are in the game by default, like I mentioned earlier. If it's a quarterback, I pick the right throwing animation. You know, I try to do as realistic of a job as possible. The one thing that you guys are going to notice, there are going to be some slight bugs or mishaps because you're going through so many teams and so many attributes and so many settings that there are times where you miss something. And I know with the Bills, when I did my last video, the tight ends, I missed the entire tight end group. I had incognito as a black guy. So I fixed that. I still need to go through the Bills and a few of the other teams just to make sure my ratings are set right now that I've added that piece with the tiers and getting those suggested numbers. So, man, I wish they would keep running on those screens. Man, Jared Goff is having a horrible game. So I brought the quarters down to 8 minutes, guys. These videos are long. Let me know if you guys want them to be shorter. I'm just playing, so I just want to kind of do some tests, and I watch these videos as well. I try to do some analysis of the gameplay, see how these teams are playing. So I'm trying to get some decent gameplay in here. So yeah, so there are times where you make mistakes, and that's why when I say first draft, I mean it. You know, they're playing a zone, and when they play that zone, they get caught there. You know, people say it's an exploit in this game, I think, or it's a bug in this game. And I could say that it might be, but if you look at the zone, that cornerback's playing a shallow zone there, and the safety out there took the wrong guy, or he made a choice right before I threw it. You know, if you look at this guy here, he made a choice to pick up number 11, and as soon as he did that, you know. And what's cool about this game is once you throw it, the computer doesn't automatically just go after you. It takes a second for the guy to realize that you threw it. See that? You know, it doesn't happen always like this, but in this case, it was a nice, realistic reaction to where, oh my God, I saw the ball in the air. Because as soon as I threw it, he was still biting, and then he turns. So I see that as broken coverage, but some people look at that as the game being, you know, having an exploit or, you know, vulnerability there, but I don't believe so. So I moved the minutes down to 8 minutes to see how the stats work. I think 10 minutes just felt way too long. So I'm gonna do 2 quarters here, see how it plays out, and then oh, that was just a bad pass. That's that pressure, boy. So for those of you guys who are gonna make rosters, I mean, the way I do it is I start out by figuring out who my tier players are going to be. You know, so I start out with my star players. And I try to get those guys figured out first, because those are the guys that are going to dictate my legend faces for the rest of my team. Okay? So in this game, you need to have 11 stars. I think you can get away with 10, but you need to have 11 stars to oof. Yeah, I knew I was too far to the right. That's one thing I like. I like the kicking in this game. I mentioned it earlier. I enjoy the kicking the best. Gives you a pretty good challenge. I mean, that was like a, what, like a high 40s kick? 48-yard kick or so, and it was, it's not simple. Especially when there's wind, you know? But what I was saying is that the game forces you to have, oh man, they're going to call interference on that? Guess I did. What I was going to say was that it forces you to have the 11 tier players. So those 11 players are the ones that are going to have your legend faces. The rest of your team, in order to get legend faces on your generic players, you have to use the same faces. So I start with my legends, and that way when I'm making the rest of my team, the rest of the roster, I have only 11 faces to choose from, and it makes it a lot easier. There's less guessing of who to pick, and you know, what faces to pick, and so that's one of the things I changed in the editor too, that you're going to see is once you select your legend faces, you know, you have them set, but when you go to the face picker, you have a checkbox that says only show me the team's legend faces. So it strips down the entire list down to, you know, your 11 players or whoever you have as legends, and it makes the selection process so much easier. That's another thing that I'm adding to it. So you guys are gonna get this released soon, so hang in there. But I've made a few things, and one that I haven't mentioned yet that is pretty significant, that I think you guys are gonna enjoy. So stay tuned for that. But let me know what you guys think about this video. I mean, the Jaguars are a young group of guys, and I think they have a lot of potential to be a good team this year. They've had some great draft picks. I think Blake Bortles is a pretty solid quarterback. He reminds me a little bit of Big Ben. And he's from UCS, so he's from my area. He grew up in the same town that I live in. Same school, high school he went to was where I live practically, and so I'm a proponent of his. I think he's a good guy. But we'll see. We'll see how the Jacksonville Jaguars play this year. I'm excited to see.
The Wolverines come out on offense, and they are well ahead. They'll start this drive at their own 14-yard.
So yeah, man, I'd love to hear what you guys think about the gameplay. I mean, this game, it does take a lot of work to do this. I'm not going to lie. I mean, this is not a simple task. But I think, you know, for me, it's cool. It feels like every time, it's like games back in the day, or any game you play where when you unlock new items, and I feel like I'm unlocking whenever I unlock a new team, it just feels like I'm adding more and more features to the game, you know. And every time I create a new team, every time I create a new team, I you know, I have another team to play with. Ooh. The pocket collapsed pretty strong there, man. I didn't have much time. So yeah, so like I just completed the Jaguars, and now I have one more team to play. And I'm gonna be doing different gameplay, guys. I'm gonna show you some different teams, mix them up. But it takes time. Definitely takes time to get this stuff done. So I'm probably gonna do the Jets next. I want to start doing the Buffalo Bills conference, the AFC East, because when I play my season, those are the teams I'm gonna be playing against. So I'll probably go the Jets and then the Patriots, just so you guys can keep up with my my plan here. You know, and hopefully I get this finished. You know, I've done 5 teams, and it's been a tremendous amount of work. So for any of you guys out there that do rosters, and any of you guys out there that, you know, and I've been one of those guys to just take someone's roster and be like, oh, you know, it's you don't appreciate it as much. Not only that, but you weren't the one that made it, so you never really feel 100%. I don't know. I never felt like they were perfect. You know, I always had my opinion on what should have been different, or there could be bugs that they missed. So when you do your own roster, you know, you have that accountability, and you know what you've created. Man, nobody was open, so he waited. That's pretty interesting. Yeah, so when you're doing it yourself, you know exactly what you're creating, and you know, not everyone's gonna like your roster. Everyone's gonna have their own opinion as to, oh, why didn't you make this person, you know, a bronze and take this one off, or why is their speed rating so fast, or why, you know, whatever. So everybody has their own opinion. So it's nice to do it yourself, but you're gonna see when you do it, it is crazy amount of work. And for those of you guys who want to do something quicker, and you want to make a game based on, you know, just quick ratings, you know, you can do it. You can do it by just putting the bio information in, putting some equipment, pressing the attributes button if you want a gold player, bronze player, silver player. You know, just push a button and the guys get the rating, and you could just go right through and knock out teams quick. You know, if all I had to do were the names, and even if I skipped the equipment and did whatever equipment I thought was right, and I just pressed the button for the attribute, I could get these rosters done in a week. You know, that's not what I'm doing, but even for those of you guys who want to do like a fantasy roster, you know, you want to make a roster with just fantasy. That's where I think the exploit might come, but I still think it's an issue with the where you're basically, they're picking the wrong defense, or they're, you know, you're exploiting their defense. They think you're going to go shallow and you go a little deep in that corner. But I know this game has that exploit. Yeah, I try to drill that one in there. But yeah, like if you're making a fantasy roster, or you're making a roster, you know, that's just your own custom, you could totally go through a roster quick and create the players in record speed. So I think it's a nice addition. And I'll mention the last thing that I did was, ooh, Yeldon got in. Yeldon's good, man. He's a young guy, and Chris Ivory has got his spot in the depth chart, but TJ Yeldon, man, he's no joke. He had a good year last year. So I don't know, Ivory's got some competition. As of right now, though, if Yeldon's number 2 in the depth chart, watch out for him. I basically dominated the Rams, man, this first half. I don't know. I don't know how or why, but I'll finish through to halftime. I'll show you guys the halftime stats. And then I'll probably do some more vids. I'll probably do the Bills and the Dolphins. At the Dolphins in the rain. I want to see that. At Miami. And I'll be the Dolphins. That should be a good matchup. I don't know, like when I do my videos and I show them on YouTube, I see some guys that get 60 frames per second 1080p. I don't know, the game's not giving me that. I'm seeing 30 frames per second when I look at the YouTube vids, so I'm not sure why. But the game looks better than the YouTube videos, even on HD. So just keep that in mind when you guys watch these, that for those of you who don't even play this game looks even better on your screen. And I use a Elgato game capture device, and I have it set to 1080p 60 frames per second, so I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's my rendering with Sony Vegas or what, but it's a little less crisp. I know one of the guys out there, Dr. Sim, who plays this game, he's getting the 1080p 60 frames per second, so if any of you guys know how to do that, let me know, because I'll add it in. So let's check out the halftime show, guys, see what kind of stats we got here. Yeah, I'm just dominating this team. I don't get it. They're horrible. I need to check my difficulty because I haven't changed anything. But I'm playing a much better game than I did the first time with Jacksonville, so maybe it's just I'm having a good game. And this is why you test out the roster, guys. You gotta spend some time putting in some work. But I dominated them this half. I'd love to see what the second half looks like, but I'm gonna cut this video short. I mean, this is the kind of halftime show that Madden should be doing. I mean, there's no excuses. They don't need to have Chris Berman, which they could, I think, because they have the ESPN license, I believe. But even if they want to use the new guys that they got, I mean, they could totally make a highlight show like this game does. I mean, there's no excuse. No excuse. So let's just take a quick look at the settings. Like I said, I want to make sure. Yeah, I got them set the way I normally have them set. Take a look at those stats. Yeah, I'm just dominating this. The rushing yards haven't been very good, but the passing yards have been pretty strong. I haven't really ran the ball too much. A few sacks. I think there was one. Oh, no interceptions. Yeah. Looks good. Looks good. Looks good. Yeah, that was a 40-some yarder that I missed. But yeah, guys, let me know what you think. I'm gonna cut this video. Hope you had a nice. Hope you guys liked it. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll be doing some more as I go, and I'll catch you next time. All right, peace.